All right, everybody. This is going to be a video, and I'm going to explain what to do in an emergency situation if you have a 59 Impala with a generator, or worse, a generator with power steering hooked to the back of it. What do? You're out a long ways from home. The generator goes out, and what do? Okay, well, here's what you can do to plan ahead just in case. What you want to carry is an alternator. Preferably already have it with you. Okay, you want to take an alternator. The bracket is the same. This bracket is the same. You want to pre-drill this hole to fit a 3/8 shank bolt. You want a shorter belt than the generator because the alternator is closer in, so you're going to have a shorter belt. Depending on your pulleys, you're going to have to use a string, measure it, go to the store, get you a belt. Okay. You're going to need 3 1-inch spacers. I use shock, the spacers that go on the back of a shock on the rear end, like on a 70 Monte Carlo. You want to use 3 of those spacers. It can be a stack of washers, worst case scenario, but 3 1-inch spacers. 2 here on the bottom bolts on the bracket, 1 here. Okay, you've broken down, you're on the side of the road, you raise the hood, you have a DVOM with you, the generator's not putting out, what do? Okay, well, here's what you do. You take the generator off, take the power steering off, unhook the hoses, take the power steering hoses and shove them down in here out of the way. They're not gonna hurt anything there, they can stay there for the rest of your trip. Well, how do I wire an alternator? Well, preferably you want a 1-wire alternator. All you have to do is run a 12-volt wire from this hot junction on the fuse block. Any wires hooked to this fuse block that's got to do with the generator, get rid of them. You're only using this as a hot terminal to wire up your alternator. So what you want to do is run a significant wire here. This is like a 12 gauge. You can use a 10 gauge. I wouldn't want to go any smaller than this, but run it to the back of your generator here. And on a 1-wire alternator, you're done. If you happen to have a 3-wire alternator like this is, 1 wire on this excites the module inside to start charging. 1 wire is your idiot light. Don't worry about the idiot light. Hook a jumper wire from here to here. The alternator works. You're good. If you want to stop at a hotel, just disconnect the battery so this don't stay hot all night. It will drain your battery wired like this. If you want to keep the alternator eventually, wire this to a switch 12-volt source and it lights up hot when you turn on your ignition key. But that's a story for another day. We're on the side of the road and we're broke down and we want to get back on the road. So how do we get back on the road the fastest? Well, I've just told you. Remove the generator. Make sure you have about a 2-inch bolt here, about a 2.5 to 3-inch bolts on these. I had to shim these up to take up slack because the threads don't come all the way to the end of the bolt. Most of these are exhaust manifold bolts actually right here. So that's what you want to do on those. Again, we're on the side of the road. We're not trying to be pretty. We're just trying to get back on the road. This is not a video to how to install an alternator on a 59 Impala. No. This is how to install an alternator on a 59 Impala in an emergency, broken down situation. But you want to plan ahead for this kind of stuff. This can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. This would apply to anyone running a PowerGen aftermarket generator that looks like an alternator, that is an alternator, but it's got that appearance, or someone who has a factory generator on their car, especially a factory generator with power steering. And the reason I mentioned the power steering, well, what do? Can I drive my car without power steering? Sure you can. These cars were not like those cars. They had a manual steering gearbox with power steering. So when the power steering is disconnected, it's just like driving a car with manual steering. It's pretty easy to steer. It's not bad at all, especially with a 70 series tire and that 17-inch steering wheel. Now, if you've upgraded and you've got a 15-inch steering wheel, it's going to be quite a little bit more difficult, but it's going to get you home. The point here of this video is to get you home. Hopefully this saves y'all some trouble out there. Just wanted to do this. I done this today in an afternoon. I worked on this, not nonstop. I had a situation I had to attend to in between, but this was approximately, just working all these bolts and stuff out, approximately a 2-hour job. If you plan ahead and you have all your bolts and washers and stuff ready in a travel kit with your car, you can do this in about an hour, maybe less. Go and have your wires made up, have your alternator in the trunk, have your spacers, your bolts, whatnot. Again, the only thing I would do to plan ahead is pre-drill the hole bigger in this bracket. And then if you really want to plan ahead, you could work out where it has a support bracket back here. But again, most time you're not going to have that. You're on the side of the road, you need to get back on the road, you're on a trip, you're traveling, you got to get back on the road. So what do? We're not worried about being pretty, we just want to be safe. Steel spacers, good strong grade 8 bolts, a good quality belt, and you're back on the road. So that's how, within an hour, you can take a 59 Impala 348 with factory power steering and a factory generator, install an alternator, wire it up, and be back on the road in no time. Good luck out there. Hope this saves you some trouble, and we'll see y'all next time.